I'm going to show you how to graph a bar chart and a pie chart using categorical data, which is called a summary table. In this situation, I went ahead and made a contingency table that has multiple variables, but if I had a table that just had, let's say, I'll show you here, take our total. So this here down at the bottom that I'm talking about, this is the summary table. This is a contingency table because there are two categorical variables, both your status of where you live and your gender. This is a summary table because it just has the status of where you live. So first we're going to do just the summary table, and we are going to create a bar chart. So I'm going to highlight the categories and the frequency. This column here is your frequency column. I'm going to insert, and I'm going to select bar. And when you do categorical variables, typically your bars go horizontally, so side to side. So this is an example of a bar chart. And again, we could go in here and give it a title, living arrangement or something like that. You want to clean it up and make it look nice. Lots of options up here on different types of graphs you can choose, but this would be just a basic bar chart. We could also do a pie chart, and the nice thing about a pie chart is that it goes ahead and calculates percentages for you. So I'll highlight all the data again, insert, pie, and again, there's lots of options. And you can see, let's say I wanted to have the numbers and the categories on the chart. Here's an option like that. Here's one that has like a legend for the different colors of the pie with the percentages on the chart. Here's one that doesn't have the percentages, but it has the categories. So it's kind of up to you how you want it to look. But here's an example of one. And again, you'd want to give it a title. Okay, so there is your pie chart. Okay, now if you have a contingency table, you do what's called a side-by-side bar chart. So you highlight the entire table, not the totals, but the categories for the living conditions as well as the category for gender. Okay, so we've got males and females and then where they live. So you'll highlight that, you'll click insert, and we're going to select a bar, and side by side typically go side to side or horizontally, but you can do them up and down, but this is the preferred method. And you can see we have our chart. Again, you can give it a label, you can give it pick a different style, whatever you want to do. Let's say that instead of having the living arrangements over here and the bars represent the different genders, you want to do the genders and then the bars represent the living arrangements. So you can push this button here that says switch rows to columns, and now we have each of the genders, and each bar represents the different living conditions. Kind of depends on what you're wanting to show. So that's what you would do with categorical variables. Now let's go back over to our original data that we've been doing from the last assignment and look at some numerical variables. So this is called a frequency distribution table, which is what you use for numerical variables, or qualitative data. And we want to create what's called a histogram. Histogram is the up and down bars, the vertical bars. And typically you're going to have your classes across the bottom, and then you're going to have either the frequency or the percentages are going to be the bars. So let's just highlight the classes. I'm going to hold down Control so I can skip over this midpoint column, which you don't necessarily have to have. I'm going to highlight the frequency. I'm going to insert, and I'm going to insert a bar chart. Options. This one. And there you go. Lots of different options here on colors and all that stuff. A histogram does not have space between the bars. So the way to get rid of the space between the bars is to right-click on any bar. Right-click on any bar, go down here to Format Data Series, And then you see over here on the left, on the far right, sorry, you can take the gap width down to 0 and it gets rid of the spaces between the bars. And again, we'd want to label this, and this is our cost rating, maybe, as to what that represents. If you wanted to have labels on the axis, like put frequency over here and put cost over here, you can hit the plus button and you could add axis titles. All kinds of different things you can do there with the plus button. Okay, so there is our histogram that you use for quantitative data. Sorry, we could have highlighted classes, hold down control, and we could have done a percentage of classes, hold down control, and we could have done a percentage one. Insert, same thing, and you can see the percentages are represented over here instead of the frequencies. That's it. So there's an example there. Okay. You can also do a pie chart, same as we did before. We didn't do these in class, but I'll go ahead and show you how you would use the midpoint to do like a line graph. So let's say we wanted to do a graph that had a line, that was a line, but we wanted the midpoint to be across the bottom down here. So we're going to highlight our frequency, insert, and we're going to pick a line graph. Any of these will work. And then across the bottom, we want to relabel these as our midpoint. And we want this, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we want it to be our midpoint. And there you can see now we have our midpoint. Represents each dot on the line chart. Again, just some extra steps. The last thing that we're going to do is a scattered plot. And so that's when you have two sets of variables that you want to put on the same graph. So let's say we want to look and see if there's a relationship between the cost rating and the, we'll say, service rating. Right? So we want to put a graph that has on the x-axis cost and on the y-axis has service. So we'll do that by highlighting cost first. You have to highlight all the data. And then we'll go back up here and we'll hold down control and we'll highlight the other column. Whichever one you highlight first, whichever one is on the left is going to be on your x-axis. So you want to be sure that whichever column you want on the x-axis is on the left-hand side of the other column. And we have to move them around a little bit to make it work that way. So those are our two columns that we're going to put it. You can only have two when you do a scatter plot. So it's going to put one on the x and one on the y. Now we're going to insert, and we're going to do a scatter plot. And you can see each of these dots represent each of these different restaurants. Like, for example, this one had a cost rating of 14 and a service rating of 15. That's this one right here, 14 and 15, and that's what this dot represents right here, a cost of 14. So it's a good idea on this type of graph to add the axis titles. Add axis titles so we can say, okay, whatever one was first up there on the left, that's your cost rating. That's what that represents. And this one represents our service rating. And usually this is done to see if there is as cost rating gets higher, does the service rating also get higher? And I think we can see there's a little bit of a trend. When you have higher cost ratings, they tend to have a little bit higher service ratings, and the lower cost ratings tend to be a little bit lower service ratings. So there is some type of relationship there. So there's your scatter plot. And that should be all the different graphs that we are going to use in Chapter 2.